You're now listening to the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. And now your hosts, Christian and Kris, powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports.
Let's go. Welcome everybody to the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast, episode 15. I am your host, Christian. 15 in the building. 15. I'm your host, Christian. Can't wait to tell y'all what we got in store for you for episode 15. How you doing today, Kris?
I am doing well for a Sunday. Pretty good. Can't complain. Enjoyed a full day of football. I'm loving that. Week 2.
Yes, that is the best right there. Week 2 football. I really want to know how many people out there did. I know y'all seen that daggone IG out there where you did that 2-week proposal. You actually gave your 2 weeks notice to your wife. Did anybody do that? I just wanted to know if anybody actually did that 2 week notice and then gave it to the wife, girlfriend, significant other. I just wanted to see what their response was.
My wife, she just laughed at it.
Yeah, same here. The wife was like, huh. And I was like,
yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah. This is what it really made me think about whenever like the wife said something about it. Because I was like, babe, what you mean? So I was like,
Big dummy.
She was like, you big dummy. I was like, okay then. Okay. But yes, everybody, we got a great show for you this week. We're actually going back to the well again. This is week 2. It is week 2 and everything is good and lovely over here. I hope everybody out there is having a great and blissful day and everything. Because
shalom to all my good people and shalom to all my bad people. May you become good.
May you become good, everybody. Because that's one thing that we can say is that this fantasy football can make you feel good. You can have some highs and you can have some lows.
You can have some lows. Have some lows this week. I had a high last week, but you on some low this week.
Yeah, we on some low. But all right, everybody, we're going to get into this episode. We want y'all to sit back, relax, and then enjoy. We're about to break it down for you. And let's just go and get out here and let's have some. And for everybody that is actually out there listening to the podcast, make sure you give us that 5-star ratings. Let us know like how we're doing on all platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google. Shoot, what's the other ones out there? I don't know. iHeart.
What's that purple pod? It's called podcast. The one I use.
Podcastle.
Yes. YouTube.
Just everybody gonna give us those 5-star ratings.
Rate us.
But let's go and have some fun. Let's have some fun.
We got 12 today.
Okay, and we are starting it off right now. Let's see, we're trying to break it down for y'all. We are doing the CGP news. And if y'all don't know what that is, it's the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast news segment. Just going to have some fun right now and in the news. So what's up in the news right now going on, Kris? Like, what's going on out there? I recently saw Saquon getting, he didn't hurt his ankle. So.
Saquon hurt his ankle. I think Odell has an ankle injury. Saquon is not playing on Thursday. You can cancel that. So if you got Saquon, take him out of your lineup. He is not playing. He hobbled off the field, didn't come back in. He's not playing on Thursday. I think Odell had an injury. Also, Anthony Richardson, concussion protocol. Yeah. Who am I missing? It's off the top of my head. Who am I missing?
DK?
DK. Well, DK came back in. Unless something happened after that. DK came back in. His was ribs.
Well, I mean,
you saw something after the game?
Well, I'm talking about performance-wise, though. Like, even though you can come back in, but if you ain't performed the way you what other people was expecting for you to do. But yeah, no, he did come back in though. He did come back in.
And Geno threw for 328. So, it wasn't going to him. Him and Tyler Lockett are hooking up. So, who else we got? Any other injuries? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I think those are probably the three major ones.
Any other news out there?
As far as other than fucking quarterbacks stinking up the joint, no. But that's for the next segment. As far as the news, as far as injury news, I think that's it.
Yeah, so that is the CGP news for you. Powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports. In the next segment, everybody, we are going to break down the week 2 highs right now. So, in this week 2 highs, we have some good potentials out here. That we're going to start off with the quarterbacks real quick because we already know it is a quarterback league.
Right.
And the number one person on there, I mean, got dag nabbit. I'm talking about dag nabbit. Mr. Daniel Jones is daggone up there at number 1 this daggone week.
He better been after that shit week he had last week. He better do something. He had a shitty week last week.
Man, Daniel Jones this week, for everybody that didn't know, Daniel Jones broke out. He had 26 completions on 37 attempts for 321 yards for 2 touchdowns, which got y'all a 30.74 points in fantasy if it's a PPR format. Then we already know, if people do not know how this next quarterback is, it's always good to have him at the beginning of the season, I will say.
Right?
And that is Mr. Kirk Cousins, Mr. Moneybags himself. And when I mean Mr. Moneybags, Mr. Moneybags, because that's pretty much how he got his money, is from the garbage, just like what the co-host said, Chris. He's the garbage time. Padding them stats.
Empty calories.
So Mr. Kirk Cousins had 31 completions on 44 attempts for 364 yards on 4 touchdowns, which end up getting him 28.56 points. Then this next person out of nowhere, I did not see this coming, but it was probably from garbage time too as well. It is Mr. Russell Wilson coming back into the swing of things, trying to finish up in the top 3. He had 18 completions on 32 attempts for 308 yards and 3 touchdowns, which ended up getting him 25.92 points. Do you think Russ is back? Because I don't think he's back, but
he had a big Hail Mary at the end. They gave him a touchdown, probably 60 yards. So it definitely propelled him to number 3. Do I think he's back? I mean, that was a bit of an upset because they were up like 21-10 or something like that. Pretty big on the Commanders, which is shocking. Sean Payton got to get together. I just hate Sean Payton not with the LA Chargers. I just hate it. That's where he wanted to go. That's where he should be. Chargers, they stupid. Their ownership is stupid. Saying it right here, though. Chargers ownership, y'all are stupid. You should have fired Staley last year and got Sean Payton. Idiots.
So what you trying to say right now is that
they some dumbasses.
You call them some big dummies.
Some big dummies, Dumbos. Yes. Dumbo. Hey, man, I can do better than that. Stupid.
Man, there's a lot of dummies out there right now.
And that's why they 0-2. That's why they 0-2 and gonna be looking for a head coach next year. Stupid asses.
All right, at number 4.
Sorry, go ahead. It's supposed to be a quick one.
Nah, you good. At number 4, about time we saw this person get back up.
My boy,
we finally saw him get back up into the top 5. Mr. Jalen Hurts on 18 completions on 23 attempts for 193 yards and 1 touchdown, and he ended up getting 25.2 points, which he probably ended up getting didn't he have like a rushing touchdown also too as well?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
He had 2 rushing touchdowns.
So which would make sense.
Yeah, so I got up there.
And then another person, I mean, out of the wazoo. Nobody saw this, I'm talking about if I had some some of those gunfires, like fire the cannons. That's what I'll be doing right now. Like how the Tampa Bay Bucks be doing, fire the cannons. I'll be firing the cannons right now because at number 5 we have Mr. Joshua Dobbs. Nobody saw this coming. I mean, nobody. And if you said you saw this coming, then I got a place. I got some land to sell up in like Tahiti or something because nobody saw Mr. Joshua Dobbs coming out here doing
He had a rushing
12
touchdown,
completions. Yep. On 31 attempts for 228 yards and 1 touchdown, which ended up getting him 23.66 fantasy points for you boys. But we already know nobody started him, so it didn't make a difference. Nobody out there.
Baby.
Was there anybody who you was expecting to be in the highs in week 2, but they didn't perform that way?
That I expected. Can't say
Mhm.
because he played the divisional game. No, Stanford. Sure, I'm not playing my home. No, I need Jacksonville's gonna play them tough. That's probably Baker winning after the big game. No, nobody that I expected to be in there that wasn't in there. No.
Okay.
No.
All right, well,
maybe Justin Fields. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe Justin Fields. I was hoping because I think he was in the quarterback 6 last year. He still ain't had a quote unquote big game yet. So yeah, I was gonna say about Justin Fields.
Okay. And in the week 2 highs, we are now at the running back position, everybody. I'm talking about the running back position, and there's only 2 people that I thought was going to be on this list, and they're actually still here.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the number 1 running back ranked this week is Mr. Brian Robinson Jr. He had 87 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 42 yards, and ended up having 28.9 points. I think that is probably the highest points that he has ever had in his career for the fantasy. The next person, I definitely want to talk about this person for like a little bit. It is Mr. Kieran Williams, the new running back for the Los Angeles Rams. He had 52 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 6 receptions on 48 yards, and then 1 touchdown. It ended up going 28. He ended up getting 28 points on that. The next person at number 3 is Mr. Saquon Barkley. He had, which we already know he did get hurt, everybody, but he had 63 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 6 receptions on 29 yards, and then a touchdown, which ended up getting him 27.2 points. And at number 4, Mr. DeAndre Swift on Thursday night went for 175 rushing yards and 1 touchdown on 3 receptions for 6 yards and ended up getting him 27.1 points.
Had a career night.
Yes. And at number 5, we had Mr. Christian McCaffrey for 116 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 receptions, and 19 receiving yards for 22.5 points. And all
C-Mac, he's gonna do what he do.
Yeah, and all these points are all PPR formatted for the running backs and then the wide receivers. Now, let's get back to talking about this week 2 highs up in the running back. Now, one player off gate who I'm actually going to start watching him to see what he's going to end up doing is Mr. Kieran Williams, because what he did last week, he finished at number 5 last week, and I think he did. I think he finished last week at 5 before we was talking and everything, and now he's at number 2. So it seems like Sean McVay found a running back that can actually fit the scheme that he actually wants.
They have.
And it seems like Cam Akers. Oh yeah, I don't even know why they even drafted Cam Akers, because Cam Akers didn't even fit their scheme. But I guess it really makes me wonder. I'm not gonna go there yet because we got something for y'all at the very end of the of this podcast, and I want y'all to give us your analysis on this. But I ain't gonna go there up on this one. But it's really interesting about Mr. Kieran Williams to see how he's going to fit up in the scheme, because as of right now, It seems like he is the number one, and he's going to stay that number one for a while.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do with Cam Akers. They said that they're probably going to try to trade him again, which, if that was the case, why did y'all even waste his time like the whole offseason? You should just try to trade him then.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, just go on Darrell Henderson. Cut him. I know y'all probably want some type of investment back from him because you paid a second-round pick for him, but if he's not fitting your scheme, then might as well just go and cut him. But I will say,
probably shut on Cam Akers.
You said what?
The door's probably shut on Cam Akers unless Kieran Williams get hurt.
Probably. Which is really shocking. Like it's really shocking because of what Cam Akers did last year towards the end of the season when he was performing well. And it seems like, all right, so what's the difference now? Is it the offensive line that he's not meshing well with? Are they actually playing tougher opponents now? So that's the reason why it's actually showing, which they did play. They did end up playing the 49ers today, but even with them playing the 49ers, he was a healthy inactive. So
was he? Mm-hmm. You know, there were some cryptic tweets. There was some I saw in the news about there were rumors going around about him getting traded. He had no idea. So yeah.
But my thing is this: it's like if he's actually going to be traded, then where would I can't see who's going to trade for him? But you're gonna get like a 5th-round pick for him, 6th-round pick,
right? So it'd be some garbage. Yeah, who needs a running back at this point?
I'm trying to think right now. Only other team that probably would need a running back is the Dolphins, but technically, do they really need a running back because they got Raheem Mostert? I really don't know any. I don't know any.
Good. He can stay healthy.
I don't know anybody that actually needs a running back.
Right, it's kind of too early. It's kind of too early yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's still early.
Yes, it is. It is. And any other ones? We already talked about Mr. DeAndre Swift. I was really shocked about that. And then a lot of people. Now, this is the one thing that I will say right now. I do not like how Yahoo came out and was like, oh, there was 77% of the people that didn't play Mr. DeAndre Swift up in their lineup. How many people out there are actually going to end up playing Mr. DeAndre Swift in their lineup if they have studs?
Probably not. I bet he might go ahead apply. Yeah, very, very, very minimal.
I don't know anybody out there that is going to be playing Mr. DeAndre Swift in their lineup. To be honest with you, that's just me point blank. I don't who's going to play him in the lineup unless you actually had him as your number 2 running back based off if you did I could see him starting if people did go the that wide receiver approach with the no running backs. You just went 3 wide receivers heavy, so then your next running back would be Mr. DeAndre Swift, which then I could see you actually putting him in your lineup. But besides that,
Not even he probably had him as Gainwell's handcuff. I don't know if you still would have done it then. Depending on who you had, who was your other option. But yeah, no one is actually starting. Now, what's going to be interesting is what's going to happen in week 3. So they have 10 days off. And you have DeAndre Swift, who just had a monster career night. And then you have Gainwell. Gainwell come back and he's healthy, ready to go. What are they going to do? Who starts?
I think they're going to do the hot and cold approach, to be honest with you. Yep. I think no, actually, I think DeAndre is going to start. I think he's going to start because of what performance he did end up doing. But then if he does not cook how they're wanting to see it, if they don't see any progressions going during the game, I can see them actually putting Gainwell back in there just to do what he did before.
It's definitely them two, though, going through the rest of the season. I think as long as neither one of them gets hurt, it will be them two. They're clearly the 2 best. I mean, Rashad, Boston Scott, he's definitely your 3rd back. So it's them two, and we're gonna knock on wood that DeAndre Swift stays healthy.
Yeah, we're gonna knock on some wood because that's what I was about to bring up another point. I was like, but we already know this dude has never been healthy a full year. So
Never been healthy, so
we're gonna see what's gonna happen. And we are on to the wide receiver highs this week. This is week 2 wide receiver highs. And starting off, it's Mr. Old Man Rivers himself. I'm talking about Mr. Keenan Allen. He had
Shout
8
out
receptions
Keenan
for
Allen.
111 yards and 2 touchdowns for 31.1 points. And this is a PPR format point and scale. And we do know that everybody out there, you do play in some bonus points leagues, things like that. This is not the calculation of those points. This is just a regular PPR format league. At number 2, Mr. Puka Nakua.
Come on, 2 weeks in a row.
This dude had 15 receptions for 147 yards. He didn't have no touchdowns, y'all. He didn't have a touchdown.
Is it? Are we able to say Cooper Kupp who? Nah, I still think Cooper comes back. Cooper's still the main guy, but Puka get hurt again. Get hurt again. We good over here.
Yeah, and he ended up going for 30.1 points. At number 3, we had Mr. Mike Evans. But we got some old studs coming back up here, getting back into the swing of things, trying to show that they could still ball a little bit. Mr. Mike Evans over here, he had 6 receptions for 171 yards on 1 touchdown, which ended up getting you 29.1 points. Everybody was saying Mr. Mike Evans is washed up. They didn't know which wide receiver to actually take from the actual Tampa Bay Bucks lineup, and they kept saying take Mr. Chris Godwin, but as of right now, it seems that Mr. Chris Godwin is going down. It's all Mr. Mike Evans right now, and you will not be able to get him anybody. Nobody.
He's gonna get that 1,000 yards again. Whatever, that'll be what, 10 seasons or whatever, some crazy number, 9 seasons.
Yep.
Of him having 1,000 yards. Yeah.
Another one at number 4, we have Mr. T. Higgins.
There he is.
It is a sighting, everybody. Mr. T. Higgins is back. He wasn't here week 1, but he is back doing week 2. He had 8 receptions for 89 yards on 2 touchdowns, which ended up getting y'all a 28.9 points if y'all are in the league for a regular standard PPR format with no special bonuses or anything like that. And at number 5, I'm glad to see this guy end up doing his thing up for the Texans. I knew he had the potential, but it's good to see that he actually did something. Mr. Nico Collins.
Let's go.
From the Houston Texans had 7 receptions for 146 yards on 1 touchdown for 27.6 points. And yes, I know everybody out there is shocked that he actually did this. Shoot, I'm shocked myself. But they did play against the Indianapolis Colts, so their defense is suspect, so I can see why, but also it's just shocking, everybody. It's shocking. Nobody expected Nico Collins just to be a top 5 wide receiver for week 2. And this is not including everybody. This is not these rankings right now for the top 5 is not including the games that is actually going on right now, which is Miami versus the New England Patriots. It is not including that game. It's not including the games that are coming on Monday night as well. But we just had to give a show for y'all. We had to give a show. We had to give episode 15 breaking it down. But let's go and talk about Mr. Puka, man. Mr. Puka. A lot of people out there is like what you said before is Mr. Cooper Kupp who?
Right.
Because Puka is doing his thing. And like what we said before, if you listen to the podcast, probably, and I think in episode 13, we did talk about how Mr. Sean McVay did say that he expected Puka to have a big role in this offense with Cooper Kupp going down. And I do think that Puka is still going to have a role in this offense once Cooper Kupp gets back because it is Cooper. But what I think is going to be is it is going to be similar to how Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp played together when they was both 1,000 for 1,000-yard receivers. Now, I will say Cooper Kupp is not going to be a 1,000-yard receiver this year. I don't think, only because of it depends on when he come back.
If he can play 13, if he can play 13 games, man. You can average 85 yards a game.
I'm talking about when he comes back. We don't know. This dude went to go see a specialist, dog. It ain't like he wanted to get like a second. I already knew, okay, I got a hamstring injury, which, all right, I'll be back up in 4 weeks. Going to do what I got to do. But
yeah, what's weird is that it sounds like Waller has the same injury, but he playing through it. So I guess pain management.
That's what I was about to say.
Pain tolerance, yeah.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that is the week 2 highs. There was some other ones that I did not add on here that you had, but I do want you to give your time just to actually talk about some of the people that you had up here for like the week 2 highs.
I'm trying to think. I know I had DJ Moore. I was glad to have a DJ Moore sighting. You know, he only had 2 catches last week. He had 6 this week. I am so disappointed in their offensive coordinator and their head coach. I don't know who it is between those two. I don't know who it is, but there's no way Justin Fields is this bad. I just think if you had an offensive mind, offensive head coach in there to get him easy catches, to get DJ Moore easy catches, like early on, you know, they went to him early, and then he had a big old gap where they didn't go to him like 2 quarters. There should be. I don't know. I refuse to think that it's Justin Fields. I think it's his OC and his head coach. I'm about tired and done with these defensive mind head coaches. Who else did I have?
You had Pittman.
Oh, Pittman. The reason I put Pittman on him because he's had maybe close to 20 targets in 2 games.
Okay.
I wanted to give him a high just for his like target. He's had quite a bit of targets. I think he had 9 catches last week, 8 catches this week. So target wise, that's pretty good for him. Even with AR going out with Gardner Minshew. Who was the other one?
And your last one was Mr. Stroud.
Oh, CJ Stroud. They let him throw that ball. He had a big game. I'm surprised he wasn't in there. He must have no touchdowns.
I don't think so.
He threw for 384 today.
Yeah, his fantasy points wasn't up there then. He probably didn't throw for touchdowns like that.
Yeah,
like I know he threw one probably to Collins, but besides for that, I don't think he threw any other ones. Which is actually really interesting because I think it was that ended up happening up in week 1. Didn't he end up throwing for a potential I think like 44 attempts or something like that?
Was that
up in week? I think it was that high.
He threw 47, and he had 47 attempts today. So they let him throw that joker.
Yeah.
3 to 4 for 2 touchdowns. So I do want to give him a shout out, CJ Stroud. Even though they lost 31-20, they let him throw it. They're not scared.
No.
So, yeah.
So, in this next segment, we are talking about the week 2 lows. And whenever we're talking about the week 2 lows, it's also coming down to fantasy points. But the people that we are actually putting in the week 2 lows is players that you selected at a certain position, and they didn't perform for you like how you thought they should. In the week 2 lows, we have at number 1, we have Mr. Trevor Lawrence. And I put Mr. Trevor Lawrence in there because of
he's a generational talent.
The dude only got you 9.24 points. 9 points, dog. How's that gonna help me win my week this week? How's that gonna help me? Now I don't have Mr. Trevor Lawrence up on my team. Thank goodness. But yeah, like Mr. Trevor Lawrence, he had 22 completions for 41 attempts for 216 yards and 0 touchdowns.
I didn't watch
Now,
much of that game, so I wasn't sure what was going on in that game. I know it was low scoring.
I know
Obviously.
it was like a heat stroke out there. People cramping up.
Oh, was it?
Up on the? I think it was like a heat index of like 120 something up on the
Oh,
field. It was hot up
crazy.
on the field.
Okay.
But
And there was no
what you-
Calvin Ridley sighting. Oh well, it's probably in your wide receivers.
Yeah,
Don't
you
let
got
me-
see. There he go again, everybody, man. There he go, man. There he go.
Sorry.
Settle down, will you? Settle down, will you? Settle.
Sorry.
At number 2, we got Mr. Justin Fields, which I don't know what's going on with him, everybody. Like, and the reason why I'm putting him up there is because of where we all selected Mr. Justin Fields. Like, we're expecting for him, if we're saying he's going to be a top 5 QB this year, even a top 10 QB, you got to show me something. Like, I don't know if this is just like what like Kris said. Like, I don't know if this is on the OC, if it's on the head coach, but we was both high up on the DJ Moore and the Justin Fields sighting.
Fields connection. I don't
I
know. I just think they would offense coach would give him easy manufactured catches. You know, you want to get DJ Moore in space. Like they would scheme that up. And like I said earlier, I said it a few minutes ago.
But Justin Fields ended up having 16 completions for 28 attempts for 211 yards for 1 touchdown and only got you 14.74 points. Yeah, that's not going to cut it for you. The next 2 people, they are on the list. I don't care what you about to say about Mr. JB, but if I'm taking him in the first round up in like a super flex league, or if I'm taking him to be my QB1 and high,
definitely my QB1 in one of my leagues.
I can't be having you perform like this. Mr. Joe Burrow himself had 27 completions on 41 attempts for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is not bad. Like some people out there, they might be okay with having 15 points. If you built your team,
Jimmy G, that's if Jimmy G stat line.
But if that's somebody's philosophy, like I can't knock y'all's philosophy if that's your philosophy. But me personally, if I'm drafting him as my QB1, I need at least 25 points.
I need it, man. I need it.
And he only got 15.38. 15.38 points. Come on, dog.
And I don't know what's going on. And he hurt. Let me say that. And he hurt his calf. Bro,
Yep.
you slick injury, bro, because you've been injured outside of COVID year. You've been injured every training camp. Bro, you about to get on my nerves, man. And you starting out 0-2. You can't start out 0-2. See, people like, oh, he started out 0-2 last year and still won the division.
It's a new year.
That too, but he won a division, but also Lamar Jackson got hurt because the Baltimore Ravens, they were leading the division, got hurt. And then that's when the Bengals caught up and took over the division. And they ain't like that. He just beat Lamar Jackson and everybody else and Deshaun Watson, who you can't even count them last year. So don't act like they just they started 0-2, they're fine. Nah.
But then you also got to remember too that the division actually got stronger too, because now the Browns are actually playing how like the Browns, like everybody thought the Browns were going to play, which is going to be interesting because we will see how the Browns are going to play in this divisional game on Monday night tomorrow. Only reason why I'm saying it's going to be interesting because we do know Mr. Cooper Kupp ended up pulling his groin yesterday.
Who?
In practice, Cooper.
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper. Oh yeah. Oh my bad, everybody. I said, man, I was hanging with the Coopers too much. Hanging with the Cooper.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
But Mr. Amari Cooper, yes. So it's gonna be interesting seeing how that ends up because that division is gonna be tough.
Elijah Moore side, let's go.
It might be. We'll see.
And also, go ahead. Yeah, also to your point about Cleveland Browns, this is like their last year before Deshaun Watson's big money kicks in. So they like all in this year, getting everybody for for cheap or whatever you can, get them in, paying some people, get them in this year because next year they're gonna be cash strapped.
Yep. And then I had to add this person, like this was my MVP from last year, and Mr. Patrick Mahomes. I put him on here because of where he finished in the ranking system. He did not finish up in the top 10 in the rankings, so I had to put him on here because even though he had 29 completions for 41 attempts, and he had 305 passing yards and then 2 touchdowns, he only got 21.2 points. That's good for him, but where he was ranked is the reason why I had to put him as a week 2 low.
Mm-hmm.
But now, these running backs, dog. The reason why you're gonna be shocked when you see some of these other guys out here, which for the people out there that is listening to the podcast, this is a week 2 lows. We are on the running back section. At number 1, I had Mr. Dalvin Cook on there.
Pathetic. Well, that was the Jets.
Yes. And the reason why is he only had 7 yards, y'all. 7 yards, 1 reception for 5 yards, and only got himself 0.2 points. 0.2 points, everybody. Like, is he not having any regrets right now about being up in Miami?
Oh, 0? Not going to Miami? Right. Because Miami is balling.
Yeah.
Balling. Right, I don't know why he going to Miami. I do not know why. I wouldn't went to the Jets, even with AR. I wouldn't.
Only reason why I could think he didn't want to go to Miami is because he didn't want to be around family, and then thinking he might have got into some situations, which I can respect that if that was the case. But then at number 2, we had Mr. Breece Hall, and he only got 0.9 points.
I'm gonna give Breece a pass. You know, like they were playing that vaulted. I'm gonna give him this word, that vaulting Dallas Cowboy defense. And you know, Breece Hall still getting back into his running shape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be too mad about that. Now there were some cryptic tweets that went out with him too. I think he put out a tweet and then deleted it this afternoon. But I'm not gonna knock him for the way that game was played. I didn't see much of it, but I saw Wilson throwing interceptions.
So question. I'm just going to throw this out there. Would those be 2 candidates that you would buy low on?
Yeah. I would. Yes.
So what would you give up for?
Especially the fact that AR's gone.
Mm-hmm. So what would you, and then the reason why I'm asking him this right now, everybody, is because I'm not thinking about like a redraft purposes, because redraft pretty much you could probably buy low on him, but you have Zach Wilson as your QB. And I don't think both of those 2 running backs are going to be good for you with Zach Wilson as your QB. And that's just me personally. But at number 3, we have Mr. Tyler Algier. He only had 48 rushing yards, which only got you 4.8 points. And the reason why I brought him up is because of what he did last week. And last week he did his thing on the Panthers. There was that 1-2 punch with him and Bijan. But it makes me wonder if Mr. Tyler Algier, if he is a fraud. Is he a Mr. or is he? Maybe I shouldn't use the word fraud. Is he a pretender?
Yeah, it's just you got that boy back there. You got that Bijan back there. You know, you want it. I mean, he had 16 carries, so you know it wasn't like he didn't get the target. He got 16 carries. He had 16 carries. Bijan only had 19 in comparison. So, hey, he ain't Bijan. It's really what it is. He's not Bijan. He definitely can't catch as well as Bijan on pass catching. So, you know, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is, Tyler. Sorry.
And at number 4, we have Mr. Alexander Madison. He is at 28 yards. And
told you.
He only had 3 receptions. Right? Yep. And he only ended up getting 4.9 points. everybody, I really think the Vikings are really second guessing what they did by trying to let Dalvin Cook go right now because
I'm gonna say, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. Then I'm gonna say something.
oh no, I was gonna say because right now the running back sighting in that backfield, it's nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. And told you about dude. That's why I couldn't really just wrap my head around like, yeah, he gonna do this. I don't know. We ain't seen it yet. I was iffy about him, but they're tanking. I don't care what you tell me. They're tanking. They're in a retool mode. I don't say rebuild, but they're in a retool mode, right? They just gonna, hoping they're gonna put their best out there, and they're letting Kirk go next year. And they got JJ. They're going for one of them top quarterbacks next year, guaranteed. Because they didn't pay Dalvin Cook to keep him to stay this year. Yeah.
Well,
they're
technically they still paying him, but they ain't want to pay the full salary.
They didn't want to pay the full salary. They let Danielle Hunter go or sign for like a 1-year contract. Yeah, they're in a retool.
Yeah. And at the number 5 for like the week close for the running backs, it is Mr. Josh Jacobs.
2 weeks in a row for him too, right?
2 weeks in a row for him also as well. The only reason why this dude was relevant is because he got passing.
He got 5
The
catches.
dude had -2 yards, dog. -2 yards in rushing. And yes, the game was probably out of hand with the Raiders.
All the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I took Buffalo -7.5.
Yeah.
Easy play. Lock.
Yeah.
Lock of the week.
So we know it was pretty much out of hand. So he ended up with 5 receptions for 51 yards, which ended up getting him 9.9 points. It's just
that is not helping his value next year because he's only on a 1-year contract.
Yep, nope.
I hope we don't think he's getting $12 million, $13 million, whatever he got. I think 12 or 13. Hope we don't think he's getting that next year because he's not.
Nope. And now we are jumping into the wide receivers, everybody. I'm talking about the wide receivers, and we're gonna talk about some people up in this channel right here. There are some big names on here, and we're starting off with the one person that we talked about at the very beginning of the earlier episodes. Or no, not episodes. Yeah, in the earlier episodes, because we did talk about Mr. Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
He only had 2 receptions for 25 yards, which ended only giving you 5.2 points.
Did you
kind of hurt me?
I
watched a good bit of it.
What was going on?
I personally think he was gassed, dog. Like him just getting back into the swing of things.
And then you sit down there with that heat. That'll do it. Okay.
And at number 2, we had Mr. AJ Brown. Like did not see this coming. Mr. AJ Brown only had 4 receptions for 29 yards for 6.9 points.
Now let me say it's having Thursday. Let me say something real quick that we can move on. I know there was a little skirmish between him and Jalen Hurts you saw on the sideline. I think it's much ado about nothing. I think that the Eagles they would not be a big play offense like they were last year, right? So the wide receiver numbers won't be like that. They might get like 3-4 shots a game going over the top. They are they're a running team. That's their identity. They're a running team. Like Jalen Hurts was saying, like, bro, I got you, but we're running the ball. We ran for 259 yards. I'm sorry if you're not getting your 8 catches for $110. I'm sorry. I mean, we're getting 6-7 yards a clip. We're gonna run the ball, bro. Sorry. And what happened? After a little back and forth, what happened? They went to him 3 different times. They went to him on the very next play. It was like a dig route. The quarterback knocked him down. Then they threw it to him for a touchdown. They got called back for holding. And then they threw another deep ball to him. The wide receiver the D-back put his arm down. So they went to him 3 more times after he complained. But it's a wide receiver. He's a diva. They want to win, but they want to win getting 8 catches with 100 yards. So don't worry about AJ Brown, bro. They're a running team this year. You won't have what you have last year. It's fine. long as you win, so you can be worried about. Go ahead.
At number 3,
Sorry about that.
if y'all don't know, he is an Eagles fan, so
Eagles
he
fan,
is he's bringing it into and this is your boy. This is the reason why I said I had to bring him up, is because I don't care what you say about anything about this dude. When you drafted this person, I'm talking about, and then this is when you know it's serious, because whenever you actually slapping your hand and then you actually slapping it because where you drafted this wide receiver, Mr. Jamar Chase,
like 2-3 overall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said,
5 receptions. Like, come on, talk about it. Talk about it.
he had 5 receptions last week too. I don't know what's going on with the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know that if Joe Burrow, because he missed a month of training camp with a calf injury, and now he's hurt again. He has to tweak his calf. I don't know, but I know they want to get Jamar Chase the ball. Why it's not working? I mean, I saw today they threw a screen pass to him with over there on T Higgins' side. He lost a yard. So yeah, I think maybe it could be the defensive. They're playing him differently this year, coupled with the Joe Burrow struggling, the Cincinnati Bengals as a whole struggling. I think they're gonna struggle this year. I'm sick afraid for them. If let me say this, like say Lamar don't get hurt, Deshaun Watson don't get hurt, Cleveland Browns, they pretty much stay intact. Pittsburgh will be what they be, but I think Cincinnati will probably be third in that division.
Okay.
The way it's looking now. Because like I said, they only won last year because Lamar Jackson got hurt. And Deshaun Watson was fresh off a 2-year hiatus and 11-game suspension. So yeah.
Oh man, I done misspelled his name and daggone did some bad stats too. Yeah.
That's all right.
But so at number 4 we have Stephon Diggs, and he had 7 receptions for 66 yards. Put him up there because of
you did have to put him up there.
Huh?
Go ahead.
The reason why I put him up there is because of when you're actually looking at where he finished ranked 44 overall.
This week?
Yes, this week in a PPR format.
I mean, let's go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
And that's the reason why I put him up there, is because of that. Because also, like what we said before, where we're drafting these guys at, it's like you're expecting for them to perform, even though it really depends on your philosophy, which what I'm big on also as well, is if you're thinking that all he needs to be is just a 13 up in the teens type of guy, then hey, he did what you wanted him to do. But if he's supposed to be your number 1 up on your fantasy team, he can give you his full effort out there to get you what he wanted.
I mean, you got to look at the game. Now, they won 30-10, so they didn't need for him to do much. He caught 10 balls last week. You know, he's not gonna boom every. So, you know, you just hope that on a night that he don't boom, which is probably out of 17 games, maybe 4 games, right? 4 weeks. You know, you just gotta hope that your other wide receiver, your flex, they boom for you to pick up for him. But Stephon Diggs is fine. They're fine. Like I said, he didn't do much. I mean, Gabe Davis only had 6 catches for 92 yards. He still led the team in receptions, 7. So yeah, not worried. There was just one of his down weeks. That's all. He's gonna have about 4 of them. He'll have 3 more.
Okay.
This season. Not worried.
Don't panic. Do not be worried. Now, this is one person that I'm not worried, but it's just another person, like where I placed him again is because of where you drafted Mr. Garrett Wilson. And I know a lot of people was howling him with that connection with Rodgers. I was one of those. Raised both hands, because this guy definitely was really high on Mr. Garrett Wilson. And we really don't know how his fantasy value is going to turn around. But I will say, in Dynasty, if you can get him on the low, I would definitely go out there and try to get him.
Oh, Dynasty, yeah.
And I would throw out a first round pick if you are drafting like late. If you know that your pick is going to be late in like the back half, I definitely would actually do that.
He's still a hell of a wide receiver, so yeah.
Yeah.
Just might not be this year.
Yep. And the next up.
We always say it's gonna be a quick episode, and we had 50 minutes.
Oh, it's okay, man. We ain't got that much longer, man. We actually doing good. Everybody out there, please don't forget to like, comment, and share and subscribe to the podcast.
Yes.
Make sure you go to the Cerberus Fantasy Sports YouTube channel and subscribe, because we're gonna be giving more deep, thorough analysis content as the seasons go on. This is just a little snippet of it. We're just doing a recap of week 2. And in this next segment, I just wanted to put it on here before we get ready to get off and say our goodbyes to everybody. What was one of the bounce back players of week 2?
Off the top of my head, DJ Moore, I think he's the bounce back because he had 2 catches last week for 25 yards. He had 6 today for $106. He needs some touchdowns out of him. But yeah, I would say he was a big bounce back for sure this week.
I also would bring up Mr. Scary Terry was a bounce back this week too.
Oh yeah, he did have. I saw he had some kids in the tub.
And that's the reason why I wanted to bring up both of those two as like a bounce back because of that. Because of where they was last year or like last week, they ranked like in like 44 or like 60 something. But now they're actually back to where we're expecting them to be, which is up in like the 22s, like the bottom half of like the tier 2 wide receivers.
Josh Allen, he had a bounce back week this week too.
Okay.
Yeah, he threw for 31 for 37, 274, and 3 tubs. So no interceptions this week.
Yeah. Okay. And that is your bounce back players of week 2 who we think that actually was the bounce back players. And last but not least, we're going to end this thing nice and good with question of the week. And the question of the week is, when you are building an NFL franchise, which one is more important? And you let us know down in the comments. Is it your GM or is it your head coach? Which
are you asking rhetorically? In the audience?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't need to answer. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't need. You can say what's more important for you. But this is also for like the people up in the audience. So hopefully people actually lasted all the way to the very end of the podcast, so they can give us the comments down. Which one is more important to y'all? Is it the GM or is it the head coach? And Chris gonna let us know which one is more important to you.
I think it's the head coach. Obviously, the GM and the head coach, it should be on the same wavelength, right? They should be in sync, thinking the same. But I think it's the head coach because the head coach is down there who's running the day-to-day, running the team down there, who's selecting his offensive coordinator. Hopefully it's an offensive head coach. He can scheme up. So I'm going to say the head coach because they're the one who got their hand on drawing up the plays and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like the GM could say, I want to get DJ Moore the ball. Well, it's up to the head coach to figure out how to scheme it up and get that. So yeah, I think the head coach is more important than the GM. Although if I was in the game, I would want to be a GM.
And
coach.
Everybody, that is the end of episode 15.
Let's
we would
go.
like
1-5.
1-5. We would like to thank everybody for listening to this episode. Please do not forget to like, comment, and share with your buddies, and subscribe, and give us that nice 5-star rating on that Apple Podcast. And just go share with your friends.
Feedback is the gift, please.
So
give us some feedback.
On that note, I just want to thank everybody. Go ahead, do your
all for joining. Yes, my bad. We think we got to work on it. We got to work on it. We thank you all for joining. We know you could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with us, and we appreciate that. Spread love, not hate.
Spread love, not hate. And always remember, on Cerberus Gridiron Podcast, powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports, we zig when daggone motherfuckers want to zag.
Yay.
And we out.
Thanks for checking out another episode of Cerberus Gridiron Podcast, powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports. Make sure you stay tuned for the next episode.